Welcome to the 19th annual Shine a Light of Hope Gala. We are so glad you are here. My name is LaRoyce Bolt, and I could not be more thrilled and honored to be the one to walk you through this evening. I am a wife and mom of 2 kids and a high school teacher. As a human geography teacher, I teach an entire unit on global poverty, and I use Light of Hope Home and School for Girls as an example of how we can join in the fight against global poverty. When a country invests in girls, their GDP skyrockets. In 2016, I had the opportunity to visit Light of Hope, and it is everything you will hear tonight and more. Currently, I'm a friend of hope to a young, beautiful girl named Elsie, and I got to help rescue her and bring her to the Light of Hope Home and School, and it was life-changing. Since then, I've been able to watch her grow spiritually and academically through Light of Hope's support. We have an incredible evening planned for you tonight, and we hope that you are moved in the next 30 minutes as you hear from Sandy and Bonnie Karanja, the co-founders of Light of Hope Home and School for Girls. We will also hear stories of love, care, and successes of the girls. Light of Hope exists to change the lives of girls in desperate situations and break the cycle of poverty that they are chained to by providing quality education and caring support. I would like to give a shout out to those of you who are watching with others at our watch parties, and a thank you to our watch party hosts. You are awesome. If you are familiar with or a past supporter of Light of Hope, you know how essential you are to the mission of Light of Hope. If you are new to the organization, we hope that you are inspired to become a part of our donor family. Last year was a dark and challenging year all across the world, including Naivasha, Kenya. But the girls at Light of Hope are still shining. That's why tonight's theme is Shine a Light of Hope, because tonight you have a chance to help keep that light shining brightly in their lives. We thank our generous sponsors tonight. A special thanks to our diamond level sponsor, Adventure Retail Group. And also thank you to our gold level sponsors, the Dave Kwame family and All Home Health Incorporated. And of course, thank you to our silver level sponsors. Our silent auction is still on, so do not miss out on some great items. You can bid up until 8:00 p.m. tonight. You may receive some text messages with updates so you can outbid your neighbors. You can find our silent auction on our Gala webpage, and you can also find a spot to donate by a simple click. We have the goal to raise $160,000 tonight, which is so exciting because that will cover almost half of our operating expenses. You are the important step in our continued ability to provide rescue, restoration, and redirection to the girls at Light of Hope. So thanks again for being here. We are so honored by your presence and for taking the time out of your schedule and the busyness of this world to be here tonight.
Welcome to Light of Hope.
Karibu Light of Hope.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Karibu.
Karibu.
Welcome.
Karibu. Welcome to Light of Hope.
Jambo, everyone, here and in Kenya. Karibu, which means welcome in Swahili. As we begin tonight, I want to welcome each and every one of you and thank you for sharing your time with us to celebrate our 19th annual Shine a Light of Hope Gala. This is truly a celebration of what has been accomplished over the years and all that God has been doing. I would like to take a moment to thank this year's awesome Gala committee, led by Linda Lehman and Ann Bolt, who have spent countless hours of planning to assure the success of this evening. Also, to our generous sponsors and those hosting watch parties in their homes. We appreciate all of you so much. Some of you are very familiar with Light of Hope, while others have been to visit, even several times. But then there's others that are hearing about it for the first time. I would like to take this opportunity to share about our amazing journey that Bonnie and I have been on since we were called to begin Light of Hope. As a young girl, I remember very clearly listening to African missionaries at the church I grew up in. This definitely sparked a desire for me to go there someday, and I believe is where the seed was planted in my life. Through my own experiences, I developed a strong desire to help the less fortunate, especially girls. In 1996, I began laying a foundation to start a home for troubled girls somewhere in the Twin Cities. Bonnie and I met in 1998, but God had been preparing us long before then, Bonnie in Kenya and me here in Minnesota, to fulfill His purposes together. We were married almost 23 years ago, and our lives have never been the same. With a lot of encouragement and prayer, our mission was clearly defined to bring refuge, restoration, and redirection for the lost and marginalized girls of Kenya. Our first trip to Kenya was in search of land. Where we began, we found 8 beautiful acres nestled in a valley outside of Naivasha. It was an open field with tall grass and goats grazing. This was it. It seemed perfect. In 2004, we sealed the deal. It was official. Not really knowing what was next, we took another huge step of faith and forged ahead with a lot of passion and high hopes. In 2005, we began the construction of 3 temporary buildings made with tin roofs, and those would be used for classrooms. And then we also started a permanent building for a dorm. In 2006, we officially opened our doors to Light of Hope and rescued our first few girls and hired a couple staff. There was no electricity or water. We relied on our SUV, which was better known as our donkey and cart, and to make the daily trips, and sometimes even 2, to purchase water for cooking, cleaning, and washing clothes. Studying with kerosene lanterns was the norm. Through our humble beginnings, God has been so faithful to supply all our needs. Over the past 19 years, we have experienced tremendous growth. Our infrastructure has been well established. Light of Hope has become a beautiful, self-sustaining community, a family that is thriving and growing. We are over 130 girls now who call Light of Hope their home and school, along with 30 staff. This would not have been possible without all of our donors and our partners and those who continue to pray for us. The vision of Light of Hope is to provide refuge, restoration, and redirection. Most of our girls are either orphaned or abandoned, some are homeless, but in their short young lives, all of them have experienced extreme poverty, hunger, neglect, having experienced the trauma of physical and sexual abuse. When they enter the gates of Light of Hope, they come with nothing more than the shirt on their back and a lot of emotional and painful baggage that no child should ever have to carry. Light of Hope provides the refuge they need through a safe and loving environment, providing for all their basic needs. Once a girl begins to feel this safety and love, they are able to heal, and then the transformation begins. Light of Hope also offers a quality education from nursery, pre-K, up to grade 8. Because most of the girls have not had the opportunity for any formal education, they do not know English or Swahili, which is their national language. They begin learning to communicate and read and realize that they can dream. For the first time in their young lives, they have hope to someday become independent, self-reliant young women, not only able to make a difference in their own lives, but in their families, their villages, and even in the world. Our girls are learning leadership and career training in addition to helping them deal with social issues and bringing the best out in each girl with a holistic approach. Together we can be a strong voice, creating this movement by sharing our expertise and helping change the trajectory of their lives. Once they graduate from 8th grade, most will join a boarding school, a boarding high school, or take some kind of vocational training. From there, they may go to college. The truth is, if you educate a girl, you change the world for generations to come. It has been a long journey, not always easy, and not without opposition. But Light of Hope is truly holy ground, with God's handprint all over it. Of course, none of this would have been possible without you. Without your support, your generosity, your encouragement, sharing your time and talents and passion for the girls, and taking time out of your busy lives to visit Light of Hope, building relationships for a lifetime. Light of Hope is blessed beyond measure. Words cannot express the heartfelt gratitude for each of you and the love that comes out of Light of Hope because of you. I would now like to invite my husband and co-founder, Bonnie, to share the very heart of why we are all here tonight and how it is changing lives. Asante sana.
Jambo marafiki. Hello, dear friends. For those who do not know me, my name is Boniface Moura Karanja. But after moving to United States, it was shortened to Boni or Bono. I was born and raised in Kenya, Africa, by a single mom, Josephine. Even though she was only educated up to 4th grade, she understood that education was one of the main keys to success. I learned as a small boy how important it was in my life. Living life in the village, believing we are all made in the image of God, allowed me to stand tall and understand my personal responsibility towards making a difference in my family and community, representing a higher moral code. I learned that nothing in life, including my circumstance, was fixed. In 1998, I migrated to United States. Back then, and even now, I always remember my promise to my country, especially the most vulnerable, rejected, and poor. I will continue to be the voice for their cry. I will be their megaphone, whoever I talk to, whoever listens, explaining the uphill battle they face, especially girls, early marriage, lack of education, sex trafficking, child labor, and rape, and the list goes on. My best friend, who is my beautiful wife, shared the same desire. Together we decided to take action and founded Light of Hope. The momentum began and we moved forward, making progress one step at a time. We just spent the past 2 months in Kenya and were able to witness the tenacity of the staff and all the students as they are thriving and making a difference within Light of Hope community. Despite the challenging year due to the worldwide pandemic and so much uncertainty, our school has resumed and the clinic has opened with a nurse, a counselor, and a dentist. Through the generosity of our donors, we were able to take 60 COVID tests to Light of Hope. It has been a blessing to be able to check some of our girls for COVID. To date, there has been no positive case results. The organic gardens are flourishing, and the livestock and chicken are producing as we continue to be more and more sustainable. There is a food shop we opened to the community next to the entrance of the clinic where girls are learning business skills. Zipola, an alumni of Light of Hope and a college grad, is working full-time at Light of Hope and runs the shop. She is also in charge of garden and livestock. Additional classrooms are currently being constructed to allow more social distancing and additional girls to join Light of Hope. We are so grateful to those who contribute towards this endeavor. At this time, please allow me to share some of the success stories at Light of Hope. Meet Grace, who joined Light of Hope at the age of 6. She recently came to Light of Hope to say hi to us and appreciate what has been done for her. She is in her last semester of her college 4-year degree in education. All the girls at Light of Hope are encouraged to believe in their dreams and not to be defined by their past. Mary comes from northeastern Kenya, close to the Sudan border, where childhood marriages are part of their culture. Mary spent the past year volunteering in the community, saying no to tradition, and through her leadership skills developed at Light of Hope, she made a difference. She has recently entered college to achieve her early childhood development certificate and begin using her teaching skills. Susan also joined Light of Hope at the age of 10 and a graduate from high school in the year 2019. She worked through the years, getting experience in becoming independent and making a living. She has also joined a trade school to get her certificate in electrical wiring. We are so proud of all our girls as they have learned to believe in themselves and become leaders in their own lives. The week before we left Light of Hope to travel back to United States, we were notified by the local government of a case where 2 girls needed intervention to be removed from their home. We needed to take action. Both girls conceived through rape have gone through so much crisis and turmoil at their tender age, crying and confused. Meet Faith, who is 2.5 years, and Jacinta, who is 6 years old. Their mother is as a result of gang rape, living in dire poverty. She was so depressed and hopeless and lacked any desire to care for her daughters. Jacinta was a victim of multiple rapes by so-called dad, who is now in prison. Faith was unwanted and uncared for since birth, being locked into one room, shacked by her mom for hours at a time. She showed her no love, no nurturing, only neglect and hate. This abuse is obvious when you see her. She is so sad and cries if she is touched or talked to. She was suffering from malnutrition and skin disease, plus much more. It brought tears to my eyes to witness such an abuse. We now have Faith and Jacinta under the care of Light of Hope. Through prayers and commitment, they will now have a chance in life to thrive and dream. This is truly a miracle. Educating a girl may be the single greatest investment you can make towards ending global poverty. Statistics reads, 132 million girls in the world are not in school today because of poverty, lack of health care, forced marriage, or simply because they are girls. 33% of girls in Kenya have been raped by the time they have reached the age of 18. In Kenya, 1.5 million people are living with HIV. 63% of children living with HIV and are receiving treatment, and an estimated 660,000 kids are orphaned because of it. the number one killer of girls under the age of 15 is early childhood birth. I know these statistics are alarming, opportunities are scarce, and girls face many barriers when trying to receive an education. We can all agree God can begin to use us when our hearts are broken by the things that break His. Light of Hope is on the constant rise. Why we educate girls is paramount to the social empowerment. Education is the gift that keeps on giving. Education is key. There is a light, a place that exists to provide refuge, restoration, and redirection. This place is called Light of Hope. We provide an opportunity for transformation among the Kenya neediest, undervalued population, girls. I would like to leave you with my personal thoughts. I know what it means to be in need. I know what it means to have plenty. I've learned the secret of being content in any situation, hungry or well-fed. We find contentment once we learn to see everything in life as a gift or opportunity. Perspective is everything. Happiness is a choice. This is the very heart of Light of Hope. My wife and I, along with the many who have come alongside us, embracing the mission, enabling these girls and staff realization of their potential. It takes a village to raise a child. Ask yourself if you would like to be part of the Light of Hope village. Asante sana, and God bless.
A big number of girls in the developing world live in vulnerable conditions that mostly arise out of gender inequality. They lack stable homes, and quality education is hard to come by due to their miserable livelihood, which force some of them into early marriages. In a mission to provide refuge, restoration, and redirection for the vulnerable and homeless girls in Kenya, Sandy and Bonnie, the founders of Light of Hope Home, have over the years endeavored to rescue needy girls from the cycle of poverty. Today, Esther has been pulled from the pits of poverty.
You'll be loved, and you'll have a lot of sisters and a lot of people that care about you. And you just do your part and do your best, and sky's the limit, okay?
Her mother has been struggling to raise the young family ever since her husband abandoned them. And now, she is happy and hopeful that through the Light of Hope Home, her daughter will become a beacon of change in their lives. Committed to empowering Kenyan girls, Light of Hope places vulnerable girls in an environment where all their needs are met. This is done by providing care, shelter, counseling, and education, and more importantly, instilling in them the belief that they have value.
My name is Beatrice Mombi. I'm 15 years old. I'm in grade 8.
Hi, my name is Tina Njoki. I am in grade 6 and I'm 13 years old.
Many girls, they are back at home, go through circumcision, and they didn't want to go through the same way. And they also lack education because of early marriages, which prevent them from reaching their goals.
And my grandmother didn't have money to buy us food, or sometimes we also sleep on the floor.
The system of education at Light of Hope has molded me, has made me realize that I can make it, and also I can become a better person in future and go back and help those people in my community.
I thank my Mom Sandy and Daddy Bonnie. They brought me here in Light of Hope, where I can sleep well, have a good life.
Light of Hope staffs have been there for me. They have encouraged me, they have mentored me, and also molded me to become a better lady of substance in future.
I can thank you, the founders of Light of Hope, for bringing me here to have education, good health, and security.
If I was still at home, I could be a mother of 2 or more because of the beliefs and customs of people back there in our village.
Maybe I could be walking on the streets, I could even have education.
And I've also gained the confidence to accept myself the way I am and my community back at home and my family.
They are also provided with tools they need to reach their fullest potentials. This gives them hope and brightens their dimmed faith for a better future. After their primary education, Light of Hope provides full education sponsorship for each girl in high school and higher learning institutions, where they are equipped with tools they need to become change agents in the society.
I joined LOH in the year 2012 after the challenges at home of lacking school fees. My mom and my dad broke up. I live with my grandmother at a one-roomed house. I joined when I was 10 years old in grade 3. The journey so far has been so good, reason being I joined LOH, and for this, at least it gave me hope in future that I would achieve to be the person whom I ever wanted to be in life. My future aspirations, I'd like to be an actuarial scientist. I'd like to study accounting and do more research on it. LOH has really helped me to be where I am today because it has been catering for everything. It has been there to protect and give us restoration. It always encourages us that it's not all about your background, it's all about where you're headed to. It's all about the things you do today that will affect future in life.
Investment in a girl's education profoundly impacts her life in many ways, resulting in strong and healthy communities armed with tools and resources to fight poverty.
Hi, my name is Liz Peterson. This is my wife Erin, and we wanted to just share today why we contribute to Light of Hope.
We have 2 children, both girls. Darren lives in a girl house, and we are trying to raise them just like everybody, I think, is trying to raise their kids to be well-adjusted, to be productive adults who are helpful to their communities. And we're doing that in an environment where we've been really blessed. And so we tell them all the time that they were born on third base. They're very hard workers, they're good kids, but they were born on third base. They got a head start. And I think it's particularly meaningful to us to be able to point to a person that we are helping who was not born on third base.
The Friends of Hope program is a program where we as a family can actually sponsor a girl at Light of Hope in Kenya. And so we're excited about the fact that we know specifically who we're helping and who's getting benefit from our donation.
In some ways that means that our family gets as much benefit from the conversations we have around what's happening for her as it is the help that we're giving to her.
Yeah, and I think it's helped us create conversations in our home. In fact, Ella is writing to the individual we're sponsoring, the girl we're sponsoring, and that's a really meaningful thing because it makes what we're doing much more real.
Yes. And I think it encourages them to be grateful, to be more humble, and we just generally feel like that's a lesson that's super important, and it is hard to convey that when we just write a check. And so I think if you're interested in the mission and you can participate in Friends of Hope, I think you'll find that it it is just another layer of depth. We feel good about this, and I think our kids feel good about this. And I do think we have a responsibility, if we have the means, to sort of give back to our fellow humans and pay it forward. And this is a really rewarding way to do that.
Welcome now to Light of Hope supporters from our Diamond Level sponsor, Adventure Retail Group, Troy and Liz Peterson, as they share a glimpse into their involvement at Light of Hope.
Good evening. My name is Troy Peterson, and this is my wife, Liz. We live in Maple Grove. We have 3 adult kids, a son-in-law, a 2-year-old grandson, with another grandchild on the way. Later this summer, we're welcoming a daughter-in-law to the family. We own a business in downtown Minneapolis, and we've been supporters of Light of Hope for several years.
We heard of Light of Hope through our church, Plymouth Covenant, and through friends who've been supporting Light of Hope for many years. We've been to some of the galas and the luncheons, and we've really gotten excited about the mission of Light of Hope.
Over the past several years, friends of ours have encouraged us to visit Light of Hope with them. And initially, we passed on those opportunities because we felt like we already believe in the mission of Light of Hope and we support Light of Hope, so we didn't necessarily find value in visiting Light of Hope. However, about a year and a half ago, I was sitting in church and I felt a real strong calling to join the Light of Hope missions trip in February of 2020.
And I would just put in a quick plug that if you ever have the opportunity to go to Light of Hope and someone invites you or the opportunity arises, to definitely do it. You will not regret it. It's an amazing experience and you will fall in love with those girls.
One of the most impactful experiences while at Light of Hope was going on a mission to rescue 2 sisters.
These 2 girls, named Tina and Fallon, were living with their grandmother, and they had been orphaned. Their mother had died of AIDS, and their father had succumbed to mental illness. A neighbor of theirs had been trying to look out for them, and she herself had been an orphan, but she got to the point where she realized she could no longer care for them or help them the way they needed it. So she reached out to Light of Hope, and the rescue was put in motion.
The morning of the rescue, we boarded the van, along with the Light of Hope social worker, and headed to town. On the way through town, we stopped in front of a bar, and I thought, well, I wonder what we're stopping for. But I soon realized that this is where the girls lived. So we got out of the van, went behind the bar, and came to a room that was about 10 by 12 foot, with dirt floors and no windows, and a chicken in the room as well with them. But what was most striking and sad about the situation was that there was a padlock on the outside of the door that the grandmother used to lock the girls into their room at night to protect them from the men at the bar.
And as we were leaving with the girls and gathering their things and walking by the bar, one of the men leaned out the window and said, "God bless you guys for rescuing these girls." We continued to walk, got into the van. The girls got settled and started singing the most beautiful worship songs filled with hope on our way back to the Light of Hope. And as we drive up into the driveway, there to greet them is 100+ girls singing and welcoming them and clapping. And I looked at those girls and I thought each one of these girls has a story similar and different than Fallon and Tina, but just also needing to be there. At that moment, I think our hearts were just so full of hope for these girls, and just so, just a very deep emotional moment with them, knowing where they came from and then the opportunities that they were going to have.
You know, over the years, we heard of the word rescue attending Light of Hope galas or luncheons, and it wasn't until that moment that I truly realized what rescue meant. And it really means saving these girls from a lifetime of suffering.
Light of Hope commits to taking care of these girls and getting them into adulthood. It's a huge commitment when they go on a rescue. And so I think at that moment, we just really had a really deeper understanding of what Light of Hope does.
And over the past several years, we would support Light of Hope through an annual gift amount, but we decided after that experience that we really wanted to embrace more of a monthly, ongoing giving, recognizing that the commitment is so long for Light of Hope to take in these girls that we became a friend of hope and support a girl ourselves.
A Friend of Hope means sponsoring one girl, all of her needs on a monthly basis, which are $210, and covers food, clothing, shelter, and all of her education. If $200 seems like a little bit much, I would encourage you to think about friends, family, or coworkers you might want to join with together and sponsor a girl. Get to have a communication with them, writing back and forth and getting to know them, and they get to know you. If the $210 is just still a little bit too much, any amount a month helps. A smaller amount covers food or books or other expenses that they have.
Only about a third of the girls at Light of Hope are currently sponsored through a Friend of Hope program. We'd love to see every girl be sponsored through Friend of Hope through tonight's efforts. If you're interested in becoming a Friend of Hope, please go to Light of Hope website and click on Become a Friend of Hope.
There are many other ways you can support Light of Hope this evening. You can go to the GiveSmart website and make a one-time donation. You can also support the auction by purchasing items that you're interested in.
Or you can take out your phone and text 76278 and in the message type LOH Gala 21. That's LOH GALA 21, and you can text in your amount that you'd like to donate.
The goal tonight is to raise $160,000 in order to continue the operating expenses and support of the girls at Light of Hope.
Light of Hope exists because of your generous donations. We encourage you to give generously tonight to make a difference in the lives of these girls.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thank you for joining us tonight. In Ecclesiastes 3, verse 5, it says, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to refrain from embracing and a time to embrace." We have been in a season where we have had to refrain from embracing. But tonight, this is an opportunity that you can embrace. You can embrace shining a light of hope into the lives of these girls. If you have felt inspired and moved to become a part of our family tonight, please reach out to us. And remember, the silent auction closes at 8 o'clock, so do not miss out on that item you've been wondering if you should have. The girls of Light of Hope and all girls across the world, thank you. Good night.